Welcome back. What's new? Miss me? Okay, I'm just messing with you. Kind of, no, but seriously. Okay, we're moving on to the next section, the last section of our guided practice, 16 through 20. And we're going to make this a little bit more difficult, or I'm making it more difficult for you. But again, no stress, I'm doing it with you. It shouldn't be that bad. So it says in the directions, choose the best way to combine the independent clauses to make the indicated sentence structure, which means in the directions for each sentence, it will tell you which kind of sentence structure you should be making. Up in the section just below the directions, it does tell you how to punctuate or combine these types of sentences: compound, complex, and compound complex. In fact, there's even an example at the bottom. So be sure to look at that to help in any circumstance. Let's look at number 16. It says, Caesar and Danny are spending the weekend in Chicago. Caesar and Danny are visiting friends. They want you to make this into a complex sentence. Well, before we even look at our options, remember I always tell you to cover up your options before you look at them because it might confuse you. Think to yourself, how do I make a complex sentence? What has to be in a complex sentence for it to be complex? And the answer is a SWABI. So remember two things in your head. If it starts with a SWABI, then you put a comma in the middle of your sentence. If you put a SWABI in the middle of your sentence, there should be no commas. That is all. If there's extra stuff added to that, it's probably not correct. So let's look at our options. The first sentence says, Caesar and Danny are spending the weekend in Chicago, comma, so. Whoa, so not okay. If it says comma, so, is that a complex sentence? No. What kind of a sentence is that? Compound. No, we're not choosing that one. Let's look at our second option. Caesar and Danny are spending the weekend in Chicago, semicolon, they are visiting friends, semicolon. No, because semicolon indicates which type of a sentence structure. Anyone? Compound. Heck no, tag no. Last option, please. It says Caesar and Danny are visiting friends since they are spending the weekend in Chicago. Do we see a SWABI in that sentence? Well, there's no comma, so we can't have it in the front of the sentence. It must be somewhere in the middle. Does anyone see a SWABI in here? No, yes, it's since. Because there's a since in this sentence, it does make it complex. They didn't add any extra stuff either. So you should be choosing the third sentence as the correct answer. Number 17. It says, make this into a compound sentence. Again, that means if it's compound, we cannot have any SWABIs at all. What are our two ways to punctuate a compound sentence? Our first way is comma fanboys, but there have to be two sentences there, two complete sentences on both sides. And our other option is a semicolon. So let's look if they have that option anywhere. The first option says he couldn't go home for he had no place to go. I have comma fanboy there, so that looks pretty good. Let's look at our next option though. Always check every option you have just in case. This one has a comma in the middle with no fanboy and it has a SWABI. What type of a sentence is that? Is that a compound sentence? No, that's a complex sentence. And our third option, he had no place to go since he couldn't go home. There's no semicolon, there's no comma fanboy. In fact, there's even that little tiny SWABI in the middle trying to trick you. So there's only one possible answer that we could choose for number 17, which is the first one. If you knew that already, you are thebomb.com. 18. The dog started barking, so the cat ran away and I couldn't sleep, so I stopped. They said make this into a compound complex sentence, which didn't surprise me because they had three sentences there. Compound complex. I actually think sometimes this is the easiest one because everything's in there. So you should be able to find the sentence that's got everything. So we should have a comma fanboy or a semicolon with two independent clauses, and we also need a SWABI. So let's find a sentence that has all of those things. The first one, I see a period in there and a comma so. That's two separate sentences. That's not one sentence. It cannot be that option. Let's look at our second option. We have a comma so. Is there a SWABI in here anywhere? Nope. So what kind of a sentence is that one? Compound. Let's look at our last option. The dog started barking as the cat ran away and I couldn't keep up, so I stopped. Yes, this right here, as, is our SWABI. It's super tiny, so it's easy to miss, and it says the cat ran away, which is subject and verb. The dog started barking is an independent clause. I couldn't keep up is an independent clause, and I stopped is an independent clause. So we have three independent clauses, one subordinate. You can have more than two independent clauses. That's fine. We have 2 comma fanboys, but what we really need to make sure we have is a swabby. And we do have one. So this is a compound complex sentence and is our best and correct option. 2 more, thank goodness. Number 19, make this into a complex sentence. So again, think to yourself, what kind of punctuation or what do I need to add to a sentence to make it complex only? Should I add comma fanboys or semicolons? No. To make a complex sentence, we add swabbies. Remember, if it starts with a swabby, comma later in your sentence. If the swabby is in the middle, no comma with the sentence or the swabby. Let's look at our first option. She led the group project, but I checked my phone. Comma but. Is that a swabby? No. That would be a compound sentence. And in the directions it says complex. Number 2, or the second option. While she led the group project, I checked my phone. We have our comma in the middle with no fanboys. That's a good sign. And we follow it to the front and see while, which is a swabby. And last but not least, it says, I checked my phone while she led the group project, but I felt a little guilty. Well, we do have our swabby in here, but we also have a comma fanboy. So what kind of a sentence would that one be? This would have been this is a compound complex sentence. So only one of these answer choices was correct, which was which choice? And it would be the second choice. And the very last, number 20. I looked for Mia at the fair. Mia wasn't there. Mia had gone to a different event. They want you to make this into a compound complex sentence, which again, to me, I think is one of the easiest because everything is just piled in there. So look for your swabbies, look for your comma fanboys or semicolon. Let's get this done. First option, I looked for Mia at the fair, but she wasn't there, for she had gone to a different event. So I see comma but, I see comma for. So far it's just compound because those are 2 ways to punctuate a compound sentence. Comma fanboys is but, comma fanboys, comma for. So far it's just compound. Are there any swabbies in here? And the answer is no. So this is actually just a compound sentence that is really long. Look at our second option. I looked for Mia at the fair, but she wasn't there because she had gone to a different event. We have our comma fanboy, we have our swabby. So far that looks pretty good, but always check all of your options. Let's look at the last one. I looked for Mia, she wasn't there, and she went to a different event. Well, first of all, I looked for Mia, she wasn't there. This should have been a semicolon. And if they made that a semicolon, because there is no swabby in there, it would have been compound. Comma fanboy still makes it compound. Either way, it's not punctuated properly and it's not compound complex. So we only had one possible answer that was correct, and that was the second one. All right, that should have been everything. I really, really hope all of you did this with me today and that you got a perfect score, and I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday because you have a break. Enjoy it.